Tyranids, the Great Devourer. This infestation represents the greatest foe ever to be faced by the Imperium of Man. A vicious horde made up of untold billions of organisms, the Tyranids seek to devour all life in the galaxy. But if you had to pick one Tyranid to live with, which one would make the best roommate? My name's Trevor, and today we're gonna answer that question. So what makes a good roommate? Some people want a roommate that they can hang out with all the time. Other people just want to be left alone. Luckily for us, there are so many Tyranids for us to choose from, which is why it's important for us to separate the low-tier trash from the true gems of Tyranid society. Now we will of course be making some important assumptions. First of all, we are gonna assume that your Tyranid roommate is not gonna be hostile to you. They could be going out to murder and eat the rest of the human population, but they're gonna leave you alone. Aren't roommate privileges great? And secondly, we will be using the very loose definition of roommate, meaning that they don't have to specifically share a single room with you. They can just be living with you in the same apartment or something. Alright, so let's get into it. We're gonna start off by looking at the F tier. I'm gonna cut to the chase here. Basically, every Forge World monster is going in this tier. And there is a very simple and good reason for this. You see, all the Forge World bugs are about the size of an apartment building. There is no conceivable way that you're gonna fit them into your apartment, and they might actually step on the wrong spot and crash your building, killing you and every other occupant inside. The Tyranid Biotitan is the size of a skyscraper and won't even notice if it steps on your car. F tier. The Harridan is a giant f***ing dragon that spawns bats. F tier. The Dimmacharon is similarly gigantic and enjoys jumping around and stabbing things. Also F tier. Alright, so let's move on to the D tier. This tier is reserved for Tyranids that can conceivably fit into your apartment, but have an almost 100% chance of accidentally killing you. First of all, spore mines. Spore mines are floating organic mines. If you accidentally touch one too hard, it's gonna explode and you're gonna die. It should be no surprise that spore mines immediately go into the D tier. I mean, do you really want to live with a roommate who, if you accidentally brush the wrong way, might explode and kill you? I'm gonna say no. Next up, we have the Biovore. Biovores are the artillery of the Tyranids. Basically, they shoot spore mines at people. I think you can see where this is going. I mean, we already talked about why a spore mine would be a horrible roommate, so if your roommate is the f***er making more spore mines, then he has to go. Similarly, the Tyranid Harpy carpet bombs people with spore mines. Unlike the Biovore, however, it's also a giant f***ing dragon bat. These things are like the size of a small plane, but maybe like if it folded its wings up really tight, it could fit into a room. But then how's it gonna get out again? So you're just gonna have a giant dragon bat thing in the room continuously making spore mines which are gonna float around the house and kill you. If this guy doesn't belong in D tier, then I don't know who does. Also in D tier, we have the Toxicrene. So Toxicrenes are basically a big ol' Cthulhu tentacle monster. And I mean, I don't think I personally want to live with a hentai tentacle monster, but if you do, well, I'm not judging. This is an accepting channel. However, even if you don't mind living with the f***ing Davy Jones nightmare from hell, the Toxicrene also exudes a toxic miasma, which is like an aura of toxic stuff, so if you step close to your roommate, you're just gonna die, which is a major downside to living with a Toxicrene, and therefore the Toxicrene is gonna stay in the D tier. Alright, so let's move on now to the C tier. So the C tier represents Tyranids that have a very low chance of accidentally killing you, but they would still be f***ing annoying to live with. And at the bottom of C tier, we have the Pyrovore. So the Pyrovore is basically a Tyranid that has a giant flamethrower on its back. So assuming that the Pyrovore is not hostile to you, it's not gonna directly set you on fire. But you know these Pyrovores, their day job is trying to reduce the enemies of the hive mind to a fragrant but delicate ash. And you know, they also aren't the most mobile and fast Tyranids. So you just know that one of these days, this is gonna be too lazy to get out of bed and he's gonna try launching fireballs out the window at unsuspecting people outside, which means there's a very high chance of your apartment burning down. Needless to say, that would be very annoying. Also in C tier, we have the Carnifex. So the Carnifex is an all-purpose Tyranid weapon platform, which is okay, I guess, but they are also a living battering ram, which is gonna be bad for you as a roommate for obvious reasons. I mean, maybe one day you want to be nice and make your roommate breakfast, so while you're there frying the perfect omelet, you're gonna look back over your shoulder and shout, "Hey man, I made breakfast, come get some." And this asshole is just gonna walk straight through the wall into the kitchen. And at that point, it's gonna be like, dude, what the f? We have doors for a reason. And can you imagine if he's in a rush to get to the toilet? The remodeling costs would be astronomical. No thank you very much. Yet another C-tier roommate is the Malanthrope. So the Malanthrope is basically like a big old jellyfish that floats around the battlefield, gathering up dead bodies while also covering itself in shrouding spores so that enemies can't see it. And I mean, if your roommate's day job is picking up dead bodies off the streets, you're gonna have a bad time. The Malanthrope's gonna come home and you're gonna be like, hey man, what you got there? And he's just dragging along the bodies of the janitor, the principal, and the head of department of English at the local school nearby. And it's like, bro, what the f? My cousin goes to that school. And he's just gonna be like, oh, sorry man, work never ends, you know. And don't get me started on the shrouding spores shit. Like, you're gonna be walking around your house and you can't even see anything because it's all just covered in spores? Hell no. C tier. Also in C tier, we have the Gaunts, and this refers to all three varieties: Termagants, Homagants, and their flying cousins, Gargoyles. If these guys aren't hostile to you, then I mean, they're not super dangerous, but they have so many f***ing friends. Do you want your apartment to be a 24/7 frat party? Because if you live with a Gaunt, that's exactly what it's gonna be like. In terms of which Gaunt is the worst to live with, I'm gonna say Gargoyles. I mean, do you really want this bastard flying around your head the whole time? And then you wake up and try and turn on the light, but him and 3 of his friends are clinging onto the ceiling near the light so you can't even see anything. Homagants are also not very great, mainly because, I mean, they don't really have hands, they just have stabby claws. RIP your furniture. And household chores? You're gonna be like, dude, we need to vacuum the house. And he's gonna be like, sorry man, I've got f***ing knives for hands, I can't do it, dude. Of the 3 types of Gaunts, I'm gonna say that Termagants are probably gonna be the best roommates. At least they have like hands. That being said, they're still not great because those hands are gonna be constantly holding a loaded gun, and all their friends are gonna be walking around with loaded guns as well. And you know, I'm no American, but I had to serve compulsory military service in my country, so I know a thing or two about firearms. So I feel confident enough to say that one of the top 5 rules of gun safety is do not let 30 people of questionable intelligence holding loaded guns into your house. Our next C-tier Tyranid roommates are the Trigon, Morlock, and Raveners. Many people might falsely assume that these 3 are in C-tier because they look like gigantic snake centipedes. This is not the case. Sure, their appearance may be off-putting to some people, but the real problem is tunnels. Let me make this clear. My apartment is not f***ing Shawshank Redemption. I do not want my roommates tunneling through the walls. Also, even if you can get these bastards to agree not to dig anywhere in the house, when they leave for work in the morning, they're just gonna walk out the front door and go like, bye man, and then they're gonna dig a tunnel right outside your apartment. And it's like, how do you expect me to bring any guests in like that? What if one of my friends is in a wheelchair? No, C tier. Next up, we have the Tervigan. So the Tervigan is the pregnant roommate from hell. They're gonna have mood swings, you gotta take special precautions, you can't drink with them. And you know, normally with a pregnant roommate, they take 9 months to give birth. The Tervigan, however, just spawns Termagants at will. So you start with 1 roommate, and an hour later you have 3 roommates, and then 2 hours later you have 15. It's just a mess. Do not live with a Tervigan. Moving on, we have Neurothropes and Zoanthropes. Neurothropes and Zoanthropes are basically giant floating psychic brains. Ordinarily, this is not like a huge problem. Sure, they're psychic, so they're gonna be that annoying friend. It's gonna be like you have guests over at your apartment, and one of them goes to your Zoanthrope roommate and she's like, hi, my name is Cindy. And the Zoanthrope is gonna be like, I knew you were gonna say that before you said it. And it's like, bro, f*** off. Everyone knows you're psychic. Don't be a dick about it. That being said, that's not a huge downside. Unfortunately, however, there is the slight possibility that your roommate might just explode out of nowhere because of the warp energies it's channeling. So yeah, kind of a real pity because I feel that Neurothropes and Zoanthropes could rank much higher on this list if they weren't a walking time bomb. Alas. Also in C tier, we have the Haruspex. So the Haruspex is the Tyranid's all-purpose vacuum cleaner. It just wants to eat everything in sight. And because it has a very robust digestive system, it can eat everything in sight. This is obviously not a quality you want in your roommate. Maybe it's been a long day at work and all you want to do is get home and cook yourself a lovely plate of vodka cream sauce pasta, which is a recipe that your mom taught you before you left the house. But then you get home and your Haruspex roommate is just like, hey man, I'm really sorry, but I ate all the pasta, and I ate all the tomatoes, and I ate the bottle of olive oil, and I ate your frying pan, and I ate the stove. Sorry about that, hope you don't mind. me, what a nightmare. Finally, in C tier, we have the Maliceptor. Now, this is an interesting one because purely objectively, I would have to put them in C tier. But if you asked me my personal opinion, this bastard should go right into F tier. It is a giant cockroach. No, it is a giant psychic cockroach. That is the literal stuff of nightmares. I would approach the Maliceptor exactly how I approach normal cockroaches in day-to-day life. Purely objectively, cockroaches aren't the worst thing in the world. They don't bite you, they're not poisonous, they don't make loud sounds or anything, but holy do I have a phobia of them. I mean, the cockroaches where I live are roughly like this size on average. If I had to wake up every day to a cockroach the size of a car wandering around my living room, I don't think I could last long. Alright, so let's move on to B tier. So B tier is reserved for Tyranids that have an almost 0% chance of accidentally killing you, but they still have some qualities that might not make them the best roommates around. Starting us off, we have the Exocrine and the Tyrannosaurus. So on first glance, these guys are pretty terrifying. I mean, they are the Tyranids' living tanks, and they're really big, so they take up a lot of space. That being said, however, these two have managed to secure a spot in B tier because they have one very important redeeming quality, and that is that both these guys want to stay very still. I mean, think about it. Is it really so bad to have an alien monstrosity standing very still shooting plasma out the window at unsuspecting passers-by? All you really have to do is cordon off a nice area for them and tell all your house guests not to walk in front of that one particular window. And then you can pretty much just have a normal life. Sure, maybe your friend Jonathan disregarded your instructions and walked in front of the window and got vaporized. But if you explain things very clearly to your guests, I'm sure most of them would get it. It'll be fine. B tier for these guys. Yet another B tier roommate is the Hive Guard. So Hive Guard are the snipers of the Tyranid army. All they want to do is be left alone to sit in a corner and shoot people. As roommates go, you could do a lot worse. That being said, you're gonna have to be very careful not to piss them off because, well, these guys can shoot right through walls. So like maybe you went to your roommate and said, hey man, your mom looked really fat today. And then later that night, you're in your room chilling and you just get shot in the head. It's a little scary, but if you treat them with civility and respect, you could have a very nice low maintenance roommate. Finally, in B tier, we have Rippers. So Rippers are like little mouse or cat sized Tyranids. They travel in packs and they eat like dead bodies. So the good thing about living with Rippers is that they would clean up all your pests for you. Remember those cockroaches I was ranting about? Bye bye, motherfucker. Added to that, Rippers don't take up a lot of space. They could all just live in the cupboard in your bedroom. Unfortunately, however, you would have to watch your step when walking around. Also, like, you might open your drawer to get your socks and then your roommate's in there staring at you. Bit awkward. Alright, now we're moving on to A tier and we are in the territory of some really decent roommates. All the Tyranids in this tier are pretty much okay to live with. They may not have any mind-blowing qualities, but they don't have any real drawbacks. Our first Tyranid in this tier is the humble Tyranid Warrior. So Tyranid Warriors are kind of like all-purpose fighters, and they function sort of like the middle managers of the Tyranid army, spreading synapse to their less intelligent cousins. Living with a Tyranid warrior would be quite decent. They're decently sized, they don't secrete any toxins, they're not trying to blow anything up. I mean, sure, they're all managers, so that might be a little bit annoying. I mean, if there was a Tyranid that was gonna talk to you about how to achieve financial freedom, it would probably be a Tyranid warrior. But you know what? Plenty of people have to live with roommates like that. Next up, we have the Hive Tyrant. Hive Tyrants are the highly intelligent commanders of the Tyranid force. As roommates, they're gonna be very pleasant to live with. They're very intelligent, of course. They're very skilled in doing a lot of things. They have a lot of leadership qualities, and a good number of them fly, so they're not gonna take up any parking space. The only real downside I see to having a Hive Tyrant as a roommate is that they're always gonna outshine you. When you meet your mom, she's probably gonna be all like, oh hey, I heard your roommate just took command of 2 billion Tyranids in the sector. I don't understand why you can't do something more productive with your life. And you're gonna be like, I work in a pottery startup, mom. We're gonna be the next big thing. Apart from that, Hive Tyrants would be a very decent choice for a roommate. Alright, now finally, we're gonna move into the S tier. The S tier is reserved for Tyranids that are hands down amazing roommates. These are Tyranids that you not only tolerate, you actually enjoy living with them. First First off, we have the Lictor. Lictors are the assassins of the Tyranid army. They're like chameleons, so their skin can change to look like whatever they want. They can fit into surprisingly small spaces, and they're just generally very sneaky. Having a Lictor as a roommate is basically like having the apartment to yourself. You're probably never even gonna know that the Lictor is there. You don't need to give it its own room, it could just be clinging to the ceiling camouflaged there. And your friends are never gonna see the Lictor as well, which means they're gonna be very impressed with you. Wow, you mean you can afford an apartment of this size by yourself? Of course I can, because I make fantastic financial decisions and I don't pay tons of money for plastic figures. In fact, Lictors are so sneaky that you might already be living with one. No one knows. But yes, Lictors are extremely deserving of an S tier slot. Alright, so we've come to the top place Tyranid. This Tyranid is hands down gonna be the best roommate that you can ever find. But before I talk about that, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you really want to help me out, please check out my Patreon, patreon.com/TrevorGoesMeep. Alright, so without further ado, the best Tyranid roommate. It is the one, the only, the Genestealer. So Genestealers are like scouts for the Tyranid army. The thing that makes them a very good roommate, however, is their ability to alter people's DNA. Okay, so I know, this sounds terrible, but hear me out. After a Genestealer tweaks your DNA, you become convinced that the Genestealer is your best friend. You see, people who get their genes altered by a Genestealer form what is called a Genestealer cult, where they get together and they all worship the Genestealer, who becomes known as their star savior. After that, they do everything together. They live together, they play games together, they overthrow governments together. What a life. Incidentally, after you get your genes altered, your sex drive goes way up as well. This is so that you can go out and spread your newly changed genes to the rest of the human population, so then the Genestealer cult can grow and flourish. So in summary, if you live with a Genestealer, A, you really love your roommate, B, you get lots of new friends who also love your roommate, and C, you have sex with way more people. How is that not an amazing roommate experience? Now, I'm sure there are those of you out there that are saying, but Trevor, then your roommate is just using you. And to these people, I would say, all friendships are conditional. Stop whining and be grateful for what you have. And there you have it, a comprehensive guide to which Tyranid would make the best roommate for you. I'd like to thank all the people who responded to the poll I posted on my YouTube channel regarding this subject. And I'd also like to thank my girlfriend Kara and my brother's girlfriend Chloe for sitting down and listening to me talk about which Tyranid would be the best roommate while they were crocheting. Alright, I hope this guide was useful to you, and I'll see you all next time.